and continue with his presentation.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you for that introduction. Am I clear? My voice is clear.
Yeah, you are clear, you are audible.
Yeah, and I would also like to thank Girish Doshi sir for considering me for this year's lecture series. Um, okay, so I'll just start with my presentation. Just a moment. I'm not used to this. I'm just figuring out. Just a moment. Okay. Can you all see the screen?
Yeah, we can see the screen.
Okay. Okay. So today I would like to present some ideas, and then there are some projects related to those ideas which we can discuss later if we have time. But the talk title today is about people, objects, and environment, which are the primary concerns that we encounter on day-to-day basis as architects. So since we started in working our first projects from public domain, these three entities were quite important to us. So at city level, so what are the interactions and opportunities one offers at the city level when we look at people, objects, and environment? Then looking at the interactions, uh, so we started looking at three basic ideas of interactions between people and people, because our first project was something to do with the restroom. So that's where we started researching about it and designing about that. So what are those interactions? So so there has to be opportunities in the cities where there are interactions uh, between people and objects. So the object becomes more important in that sense. And then with the environment, so maybe it's a temporary structure, or maybe it's under a tree, and how these three things can come together and create, like, a homogeneous environment. So that was like the initial premise of how we started our practice in 2015. And then here are some ideas related to that demonstrate this idea of temporary space, but a space that fosters interaction. So on the left hand side you see a pavilion, on the right hand side you see a chabutara, which is quite significant in Ahmedabad, and again a temporary space which kind of gives you that little edge between the inside and the outside and fosters interaction. Or these pavilions can become temporary marketplaces. And then the next question is about the opportunities, that what opportunities the city offers. So this is a very important example that has remained with me, because it was on my way when I was working at RMA, the Library of the Asiatic Society. So these steps really are a part of the library, but what they do is they also offer an opportunity to the city to kind of become something, like as an amphitheater. So this happens during the Kalagoda festivals, or even it forms as a backdrop for some photo shoots, or even there are certain performances uh, that are just and then this the Swiss knife, which is a single knife that can perform 32 functions. And on the right hand side, you can see also human figure that can perform, be limited only to its primary function, rather it be multifunctional. Based on this premise, I would like to share four ideas today. One is the idea of the light box. Second is Courtyard as infrastructure. Then we are working with the truck drivers community quite pretty closely on a couple of projects. And the last one is the idea of sequence of spaces. So I would just like to kind of play a and then we can. The brief given by the NGO was pretty straightforward. Can everyone see this? For women and WC for the handicap.
Yeah, we can see your video.
It actually helps us to take the word restroom quite literally, create a resting space. The public toilet is just 30%, and 70% of the space is just landscape where women can come, sit, read a book, a newspaper. That triggered a new concept of what public toilets should be. The material palette is completely governed by how the climate works, and secondly, how we can ease the maintenance of the restroom. If you see, all the outer walls are made of stainless steel, which are easy to clean and protecting the restroom from the outer side. 70% of the space is the landscape, so there we have just defined it with perforated metal, which allows a lot of natural light coming inside, a lot of ventilation happens. It's more like you're indoor, but still you're in the outdoors. Whole idea of this tree, it takes you back to the vernacular setting villages. Trees are always looked up as the best resting places. People like very casually go and sit under the tree and then they start chatting and then they spend hours. Earlier we had plans to plant trees and create a lot of plants. The tree was already there. We thought like why not build around it and then use the natural setting. The most sustainable architecture that we have resides in the villages because there are no architects who go and design those buildings. It's just the users, they respond to the climate, they respond to their needs. So this whole prototype really responds to the city's needs. Yeah, sorry. Okay, so that's the short film about the first restroom for women we did, which is called as the Light Box, and it primarily addressed the problem that this picture is trying to express, like a woman standing in a very uncomfortable environment. So we thought of creating a resting space, and along with the toilet, so it kind of serves both the purposes. And this was the site. So the corporation gave us 4 sites. We selected this site out of it, and then once we selected it, we kind of lined it with a plastic strap. But what was interesting was the moment we kind of defined it, people started resting in that space. So the concept got, I mean, the concept was successful even before we started the building. So that was like a very comforting feedback. So basically, we worked with these 4 principles: idea of the restroom, then a lot of sunlight and ventilation to kind of ventilate the spaces, seamless surfaces for easy maintenance, and skylights. And these are a few diagrams that we explored before kind of uh, concluding on what we really wanted to do. So this was the first diagram. So the black is the resting space, and towards the ends are the toilet blocks. Then we thought, why not a plan like this, or maybe a plan like that, or something like that. But the first plan allowed us to be flexible in the city because it can expand and contract based on the sizes available. So that's why we decided on this. And that's how that diagram translated into this space, where the central area is a garden, and towards the ends we have the toilet blocks. This prototype can even translate into a bus stop. If you remove the other side, the buses can just come and stop, and people can just take the bus. Yeah, and that's the plan. So on the left hand side there are male and no, not male. Sorry, the left hand side there is Indian WC and Western WC, and the right hand side there's a handicapped toilet with a separate access from there, and then behind that is a nursing station. Below this toilet, we have like a set of biodigesters, which kind of allow us to decompose all the waste on site, and the output is only wastewater. So in a way, it's kind of a sustainable method to recycle the sewage. That's the plan of the underground network. So up to the plinth, this entire project is in RCC, and above plinth we have all dry construction. So in the process, we also thought if we can be a little more optimum in the heights of the building, because government projects, they are on a very tight budget. So we thought of saving some material there, which allowed us to do that. Yeah, and then that's the section where we have a set of biodigesters below ground, and on top you can see the toilet block, which is 7 feet 6 inches below the water tank, and above that we have another 2 feet, which takes care of the water tank and the roof. And these are some images during normal time where you can see the transparent skin of that central area, and then towards the 2 ends you have these solid toilet blocks that actually house the main activity. And inside the toilet, we have tried to keep the materials as seamless as possible, because maintenance is a concern, and usually people are not trained to clean toilets. So if you can try and reduce that burden through design, then it becomes like a win-win kind of a situation. That's another picture of the central space, and that's the picture at night. So at night, it can the whole idea kind of reverses. So during the day, what happens? The light comes from outside, and at night, the box emits the light. So we have, I mean, since there's so much light coming out from this box, the surroundings are well lit, and the women feel safe. So this idea was then further carried forward to 14 different locations in Thane, and these are the 14 locations that we have marked, each like at a distance of 1 kilometer from each other, so they're in the walking reach. Only the ones on the left hand side are a little far away, so that we could not get into that radius. And the restroom was then further designed as a small, medium, large, and an extra large prototype, because we thought there will be various types of spaces in the city where one will need this facility. So we thought if we could be a little more flexible in that sense, then we can create a variety of prototypes. And then this idea we thought could have many variants in terms of the way it is arranged. So this is something that we are still working on, but as an idea, I thought I should share with you. So the first is the light box with that central garden, and the two black squares are the other spaces. So the second is the H type. Then we can even have an L type, or a very linear, or a H type, or a C type. But what I am thinking in my mind is this idea of light box is not just limited to the restroom. So this could be anything. It uh, could be an office, or in fact, we have done housing based on this idea. I'll show you that as the next project. But these are certain variants of the idea. And then another project, this project did not get built, but is based on a similar material palette, though it does not have that idea of a resting space, but the material palette still is the same. So this was for the Indian Railways, a toilet prototype. Yeah, and then this idea further went into an affordable housing project, which we were working parallelly at the same time. So we started with this idea of a square as an economical form for construction, which we divided it into 4 different squares based on the program. And we thought this could be an ideal plan for an affordable housing project, because the sizes of the each unit was very tight. So we thought, why not, instead of creating a bedroom and a living room, we thought we will just create 2 rooms. So let the user use the way they want, and they can be arranged around a courtyard or a terrace, and the kitchen and the toilet can go diagonally in the corner. So the rooms get advantage of the terrace. And this is how the view is from the room 1, and that's from the room 2. So both the room kind of experience this idea of a terrace or a garden or courtyard. So just kind of maximizing the indoor space. Yeah. So and then that's the basic diagrammatic plan, like a house and a terrace. So currently we have finished phase 1 of this project. Okay, I'll come to that later. But yeah, so these are the pictures of the built unit. So we have made one sample house ready for people to come and see, and then decide if they want to buy it or not. Yeah, and then this is the plan of phase 1, which is a building that has 16 units. And as you see, all the L-shaped units are like in an interlocking arrangement, which creates this plan. Yeah, so and that's the facade of the phase 1, and so as you see, like these are the garden spaces which have the concrete finish in this facade. And then we've also tried to kind of put the services within the windows. So below the window, the red boxes where the outdoor units are going to be kept. The L-shaped concrete thing is the storage for the kitchen. So the activities kind of the storage activities inside the house kind of create the facade of this project, and that's the facade on another side, which has different materials and different types of spaces. And these are some pictures of the project. It's still under construction. We are in the last kind of run to get it painted and get all the details in place. But these are some shots. So the orange double light space is the one that we have kind of built ready. And this is the plan for the phase 2. So again, you can see the L-shaped housing units arranged around the garden. And then this is more like a hybrid hybrid typology, like a street side housing and a chawl system. So one arrives in this courtyard. So if you can see in the diagram, this central court here, from that point one goes into the front wing and then into the back wing and in the middle houses. Okay, yeah, so that's the central court. And these are the corridors that takes one into, the different spaces of the project. Again, so on the left hand side is the courtyard, and then this corridor takes one into different uh, units. All these units are again those L-shaped units with that garden or the terrace. And this is how these two buildings sit on the site. Like on the right hand side, you saw the building that is built, and on the left hand side is the the phase two of the project. Yeah, that's how they're sitting on the side. But if you can see, there are a lot of little things that add value to the design. Where are those orange gardens, or those red boxes, which are the outdoor units or the storage units that are kind of coming in the elevation. So the idea of the light box further translated into this housing project also. So if you all can see, the terraces are then later lined with the perforated metal, creating another kind of a light box or layer from where all the passive lighting and ventilation is taken care of within the housing units. Okay, so the second idea I would like to share is of the courtyard, which primarily is used in houses and institutions and maybe collective housing projects. But as infrastructure, how we can explore the idea of courtyard is something I would like to share. So this is another public toilet project we did for the Western Railways. So this is an existing space which we demolished and then built a new facility. So this is the existing scenario. This is Bandra station platform 1. Very unfriendly spaces. So what we try to do is to use courtyard for two reasons: to contain the floating population of urinals and to create an essential microclimate for daylighting and ventilation. So that's the diagram we came up with. So on the right hand side, you see the Bandra platform station, and then we created that green. The green rectangle is the court along which there are different facilities that are arranged. Yeah, and that's the plan. So, like essentially, we try to create the urinal along the courtyard because the floating population is quite high to use urinals, so they need a lot of space for people coming in and going out. This is just a public space diagram that defines circulation and interaction. And yeah, so that's the entry point. One can see the court, and then the urinals, and on the right hand side is the access to the female toilet. And that's the picture from the court looking towards the platform. And early morning, the spaces, they are very comforting to the passengers who are on the platform, or even the people who are working on the platform. They use this as their as a domestic space where they can brush their teeth and freshen up for the day. So here also we try to use perforated metal to create those screens. So here for handicapped toilets, but the idea was to keep it visually accessible, so one gets a view into the handicap area. And these are some material details that we thought we could document just for our reference. The stonework, stone and perforated metal. And again, we are back connecting with the platform. So this idea we further explored into another project. So this was like a community sanitation program. We were working with a company to. This did not go ahead, but I thought this idea was like worth discussing. So, so this was for a few districts in Calcutta. where they wanted to create this 1,500 square feet units within different locations. So essentially, it had a plan with a male toilet system, a female toilet system. There's a reading room, library, and along the street there's a little tuck shop, and there are separate public spaces for male and female. And the central area is like a common gathering space for all the genders. So yeah, so these are like certain views of yeah. So this is like a separate public space for women, and that's the court around which all these different activities are arranged. And the third idea, I think, is very important in the sense that along the highway there are very less facilities these days available for the truck drivers. So we kind of started with one project uh, which kind of addressed that issue, and after that, that another project we worked on a larger scale. So the first project we did was on the Bombay Goa highway. It's called as the paused restrooms. So here we were trying to explore the idea of color not only as an aesthetic feature but something to do as a communication design. So the idea of color here firstly addresses um, the fact that public utilities should be quickly identified in the urban landscape, and secondly, the color absorbs the dirt and dust on surfaces that forms due to human interventions. And I felt these are the two best possible examples that could express that, the speed post box and the London telephone booth. If you can see at the bottom of that London telephone booth, it's quite dirty, but because of that very bright color, it kind of absorbs that whole thing. So conceptually, it's like a big pavilion into which there are different facilities arranged. Again, it's related to the toilet. So we have a female toilet towards the entry, then handicap, and there's a little Suvidha Kendra, a tuck shop, and from the grooming center, the entry is only for the truck drivers, so where they can go into the pavilion, which is a completely secluded space for the truck drivers. And if you see the pavilion below, it is the space for the general public, and that's how the plan appears to be. And along its way, there are a lot of domestic spaces that we have created, but all of them, kind of packed into this very contemporary building. So there's a certain connection with the spaces that uh, these guys are used to, but at the same time, it's a little contemporary. So that blend has kind of made them a little comfortable in this project. Uh, So these are this is a public space diagram. So circulation is in yellow, interaction and circulation plus interaction. And this is how the building appears to be. On the right hand side is the entry for the common public, and where we have where this truck chalak suvidha is written, that's the entry for the truck drivers, and they have their own separate area in the back. But what is interesting about this project to me is, like, when you arrive at this point, there are multiple access points. So from at this point, you can decide where you want to navigate, which is kind of interesting. Yeah, again, there's multiple entry points. Yeah, so I was talking about these little domestic spaces that we have created in this project. So on the right hand side, you can see a picture. There's a little veranda and a seat. So suddenly the women become comfortable in this kind of space, and they start relating to the other spaces that they have been to, which has similar character. So that's where this idea of maybe a humanistic design starts to come in to some extent. Then moving ahead, so within the prototype, we had a lot of skylights. We started doing some light studies just to get a hang of what is the nature of light inside the space. Yeah, so that's where you can see that open. So actually, that skylight is not open to sky, but it's actually open to roof. Like in the right hand side in the section, you can see that little skylight with, and there's that roof on top. So it kind of protects it from the rain, but it also gives that additional possibility of the natural light to come in. And the materials are all robust and maintenance free. Yeah, so that was the female toilet that we saw, and then this is the entry towards the male toilet. The passage takes you all the way inside, and all the wash basins are kept outside, so there's no crowding inside the spaces. And again, for the male toilet, we had designed a section along the urinals which has this natural light condition. Yeah, so that's how we translated into. So the urinals are placed along that natural light section with plants behind and the urinals in the front. It helps to dry the toilets faster. These skylights. Yeah, that's the section where you can see the urinals and the plants. It's really well lit and fresh, um, and so on the gray surface, what you see here is the red color of the building reflecting and creating that kind of effect. It's not we have not painted that surface red; it's all gray. Yes, and then after you come outside, there's a little tuck shop and the access to the truck driver's facility. So there's a haircutting salon on the way, which kind of has a space to uh, allow one person at a time. Because this is also an important facility because these guys are driving at 22 hours at a stretch, so they need a space where they can have a haircut or take a little massage or shave or whatever, just to kind of feel fresh to continue their journey. And then there's a recreational area. This is like a semi-open space which has these charpoys. We purposely did that just for them to feel comfortable. Like if you see, the rest of the building is like really stark red in color, so that serves the idea of the communication design. But culturally, it has to be very relatable to the user groups. So that's why we thought the furniture has to be very, very domestic in that sense. And that's the side elevation of the building. And even in this, we all these elements are kind of functional in the sense for this thicker band is just to kind of avoid someone looking into the toilet area, and then it adds value to the elevation as well and gives a nice character. Then we also worked on the communication design, because for these projects it is very important that the communication design is spot on, because every time there's no one waiting to guide you where to go. So we kind of designed these icons and thought they could be helpful in guiding people. And the signages were in two languages, so one in Hindi and one in English, so everyone can read. So that was a basic concern. These are some door metal signs just for everyone to kind of understand. And for the truck drivers, we added text also, because not everyone will understand these logos. But in a way, it will educate them to understand if they see it in some other place. And the good thing about this project is we had like a maintenance staff to take care of this project, because see, in public domain, I mean, the real test starts after the building is built or the design is done. So what happens really to the building, that is the real test of the design. So here the client specifically appointed five people as a full-time staff to take care of this project. So even if anyone visits this project even today, it's as good as the pictures we saw right now. Then again, so another project kind of came through, which wanted to create a similar facilities but on a larger scale. So I'll just show another short film quickly, which is just 4 minutes.
हमारी लाइफ में कोई ठिकाना नहीं, ना आपको खाना मिलता है सही ढंग से, ना कहीं नहाने का स्थान मिलता है, लेकिन अपना कोई पेट पालने के लिए कुछ तो काम करना ही ना पड़ेगा। दिन में 500 किलोमीटर चलाना ही चलाना है, रात में 500 किलोमीटर चलाना है। सोते कहाँ हम लोग? मैं रोड पे 15 दिन 20 दिन मैं चलता ही रहता हूँ। ड्राइवर की जिंदगी बहुत बेकार है, वो रोटी ही पे कट जाती है उसकी जिंदगी। धूल मिट्टी से तो मतलब डेली नहाना है, पानी से नहाए या आदमी या ना नहाए, लेकिन धूल मिट्टी से डेली नहाना। हर परिवार का याद हर हमेशा ही आता है। जब खाना खाने वक्त कभी टाइम मिलता है, सोने वक्त मतलब याद तो आना ही। सबसे ज्यादा माँ आपको हमारे बच्चों की और मम्मी की याद जाता है। बाहर जब हम निकलते हैं तो मेरा ये घर परिवार सब यही है। हमारा घर परिवार वहाँ भी है और यहाँ नहीं तो बस यहाँ भी।
Okay, I think I've exceeded the time, but I'll just try to finish quickly in the next 5 minutes. So this is the elevation that you see from the road, and that's how we constructed this building. So that the site was like a parallelogram along the highway. It's 2.5 acres. Then we divided the site into two triangles, which we decided to keep that for parking. And the orange block you see is the fuel station. And then after defining areas for parking and circulation, what we got was a triangle site for the building. And then the triangular form we further divided into many different rectangular spaces to make it habitable. And then what we tried to do was conceptually, we wanted to create a home for each facility. Like one courtyard, it serves food, one courtyard serves recreational activities, one courtyard serves the sleeping spaces, and along this bigger course, these are the smaller triangles that become the toilets and the other facilities to support the bigger activities. And then together it kind of forms a village, because there are different houses that come together for these various activities. And that's the site plan. So you see that the triangular building with all the courts, and then the parking spaces around. Yeah, so in the front we have like a big plaza where one arrives and then starts navigating to the building. And so this is the eating court. So this is like the biggest court. So this is for people who are going to stay inside, as well as people who are visiting. And this is not only for truck drivers, this is for everyone. Yeah, so these are the eating spaces. So the idea of the courtyard came because we wanted to reinforce this idea of a home in this context. So this is in Chitradurg. So the nearest, the South Indian courtyard house is the best example to kind of explore. So that's why the court. And then the landscape of Chitradurg has rocks and boulders. So we thought just to create that identity, we could get some boulders from the surrounding areas or locally, just to have these courtyards with some character. Yeah, so these are the eating courts. That's the recreational court. So here you come and relax and chill, or read newspapers, or just play carom or something. Yeah, so that's the recreational court. And then these are the dormitories. So we did not plan like a very typical dormitory. So we arranged these beds around the courtyard. So if you see now, you see the courtyard also, and at the same time you have privacy to sleep as well. So which is really nice for a dormitory. We have just started hitting the ground on this project, and it will take time because it's considerably a good size. So yeah. So but for this, we are working on a very tight budget. So we thought, so we are using load bearing walls and locally available bricks, just to kind of again reference the color of the soil, and building in the context and creating that identity for the people who are going to visit this space. And this is the last idea, that is the sequence of spaces. So this is something I've been constantly thinking in my mind since I visited the Taj Mahal when I was like studying architecture. So the idea of how one navigates through various, so not only in Taj Mahal, but even if you see this in the Humayun's tomb and any other Mughal buildings, so they have this clear sequence. They take you from a certain space and then they start leading you towards the main building. So first you come to the Tajganj, which is like a market as well as housing. Then this is like a Jilao Khana, like a forecourt, and then there's a Charbagh, and in the end, the fourth sequence is where you reach the Taj Mahal. So based on this idea, we are currently working on a project which is the Center for Performing Arts. So the sequence is just reversed in the slide. So if you see on the right hand side, that is the first sequence where one enters into a library area which has 50,000 books, and then there are shops on the ground. Then the second sequence, you enter in a cafeteria and an amphitheater space. The third sequence is an art gallery, which is like a huge veranda, again covered. And the last sequence is the auditorium. And it happen pretty naturally because of the shape of the site, because it's a linear site, and then there are these varied programs. So the idea was to then, start arranging them in a certain sequence so that one gets a certain quality of space. So if you see that the first sequence where the shops and the library are, it's a pretty much like a commercial zone, and after those two triangular gates, it's more like an event space, and then you enter into that auditorium. Then that's the um, sectional perspective of the space, and then that veranda plays a very important role in this entire setting, because that kind of holds the auditorium, the amphitheater, and the cafeteria together, and in a way it is a flexible space, and it allows for various kinds of activities. And yeah, so this is another drawing which kind of shows those different activities and within that last two sequences. Yeah. So I mean, just to kind of conclude on this idea of people, objects, and environment, yeah, like if you see to its core, like space is neutral. Space does not has an identity without people, objects, and environment. So people, objects, and environment, they identify space pretty much clearly, not only visually but culturally also. And in fact, that leads to create architecture and aspirations for a habitat that is, built or unbuilt. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for your presentation. So, our second speaker for this evening is architect Prasad Toru. He has completed his Bachelor's of Architecture in 2005 from College of Architecture, Kolhapur. He has worked as local coordinating architect for Flame University Pune with Sangat Ahmedabad, as well as with Matthew and Ghosh Architects in Bangalore in the year 2006 to 7. He has also worked with architect Charles Correa, Mumbai, for 2 years. He has his own practice in Pune since 2010 and is involved in the planning and designing of various government institutions as well as his private projects. So I would request Architect Prasad Toru to please take over and start and continue with his presentation.
Hello, am I audible?
Yeah, sir, you're
Hello.
audible.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for the introduction. Thank you. I would like to thank Road Forum and Girish Doshi sir. Coming to this forum is almost like coming home, because I myself am connected with Road Forum for last 15 years. So thank you very much that you invited me for this year's lecture. Today I will be presenting, apart from two of my projects that we are doing, I will be also presenting some of the ideas that we are trying to incorporate in our projects, as well as some inspirations that I gathered from my working experience, as well as through some readings and similar kind of things. Yeah. Hello. Is the screen visible to everyone?
Yes, your screen is visible, sir.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll just start with the beginning. These are my initial assignments. After I passed out from my college, I worked with few master architects in our country. First is the project, which is the Flame University, that is in Pune. It was Girish Doshi sir only who introduced me to this particular assignment. And I was working on the site here in Pune as a coordinating architect for that project. So I could see the how it gets executed. The project is by architect Girish Doshi sir, as we all know. but I was working on a site as a site coordinating architect. The second picture that you see is the Freedom Park, Bangalore. I worked with architect Soumitra Ghosh from Bangalore, and this was a 100 years old jail that they converted into a urban park, and now it's fully functional and working. And the third project that you see is the Mahindra Research Valley, that's in Chennai. This is a project by architect Charles Korea. I worked with him for 2 years in his office at Bombay. And these are the kind of some of the projects that I worked during my first assignments as a working person. And then after that, I started working on my own, and I have my practice for last 10 years in Pune. Working with these masters probably has exposed me to some of the issues that they were trying to express in their work. I, on my own, have been trying to understand. Still, I'm in a process of trying to understand how they express certain concerns uh, in their work, and I'm trying to just express, formulate my own language, if I may call it so. I'll just go through some of the readings and some of the inspirations that I gathered from these people. These are some of the readings that I did get these references of these books from architect Korea. I mean, he was a voracious reader. I try to read from the references that he has given to me, and these are the kind of books which has formed my understanding of history of the country and all, and this somewhere helps to uh, in my work that I'm doing. Yeah, these are the kind of movies I feel, which again, where I discussed this with. There are few of the movies. These are which I discussed with Architect Korea, and we used to have a rigorous discussions on this while I was working with them. So these are kind of things which have inspired my work. I've been trying to read certain books. I believe there are a few students here. I'm just sharing this for them. These are some of the books on history and philosophy that I've been reading, which has helped me to further some ideas that I'm expressing in my work. Yeah. This is again some of the books that I'm reading presently. This is about Kumar Swami. It helps you to understand the ideas of aesthetics in a traditional society that was India. Yeah, and after showing all this, I will also talk about certain challenges in practice that I face day to day. As it was mentioned, we have been working with some government institutions for last few years. Somehow we landed up working with the government, and generally the experience is working with the government is not very good, but there are also some positive points about working in this kind of a system. But what we are trying is we have been trying to incorporate certain ideas that I showed into this particular system, and I'll just show you two of my projects. One is built in Pune, and the second one is a court building that we are proposing, and still it's in the process of approvals and all. Show them a little bit in detail so that I'll be able to tell you about what we have been trying to do in certain these kind of projects. Yeah, these are the two projects that we are working on. The first one is complete, but it still is in the process of getting handed over to the user department. It's a training center project in Pune. This is behind Pune railway station, and this is training center for health officials. I'm sorry. And the second project that you see is mineral court building. That's again in Pune, at Yeroda. This is diagonally opposite to Yeroda Central Prison, and we have proposed this to Government of Maharashtra, and it's in the process of getting approval and being sent to government for funding. Yeah, the first project is the National Cold Chain Resource Center, they call it, but basically it's a training center for health officials. This is the training regarding cold chain equipments, about medical vaccines and all. People from SAARC countries do visit, do attend these programs, and this was a kind of a, our users wanted a kind of a landmark building. But the brief given to us was very vague, and there was a site and they just had no idea what kind of building that they wanted. So we had to start from formulating the idea and discussing with them how they wanted and all that. We studied a site. A site had a visibility on a main road. So we studied the site context. The program is a mixed program. It's basically a combination of office spaces and the residential accommodation for the trainees who will attend the program 15 days for a duration of training. And last thing was it needed to be inserted within the existing set of buildings on site. So all these were the basic constraints when we started working on this. Yeah. So that's how the site context is. These are some of the landmarks on the road. This is behind railway station. We can see a railway station in this project, and that's the main arterial road. It becomes a Nagar road, Pune Nagar road later. And these are the kind of main buildings which are located along that road, and that's the site. So that site had a kind of a visibility on the main road. Yeah, if we just zoom in, that's the site and the road. Yeah, when we studied the site context, as you can see, the road gets a little turn near the site, and one of the edge of the site is little inclined. This is a we try to take benefit of it. So these are the existing buildings on site, and that's the existing workshop which had to be connected with the main building. And these buildings were located on one axis, and since the road was inclined, one of the site edge was inclined. If we wanted to enter the building, we were always entering diagonally and not in the existing access of other buildings. So we try to take cognizance of this kind of a situation. That's a south, and that's how the site context was. So these are certain goals that we decided very loosely at the beginning of the project. Of course, obviously they were formulated during the process, but we wanted to respond to the site context because it had a significant potential. Had to be a climatic responsive architecture. Our users wanted entire building air conditioned, but at least we thought that we could reduce the load on the air conditioning by having a climatically responsive building. It had to be monumental. This is the kind of first governmental facility of this kind in the country. So it is kind of a headquarters for this kind of activities. So it and also considering the site context, it had to be a monumental building. And there are for ease of maintenance because as we all know, this was being used by the government. So we thought we should not create anything which needed a high maintenance considering the kind of systems we have. So these were the loose goals that we had in the beginning. So this is how we started by locating a block there. The kind of site context and the study of program suggested us that we had to go for a single building because the land, even though we can see a lot of vacant land there was a restriction that we were supposed to use only 30,000 square feet of land out of the whole because there are a lot of issues regarding land usage and all. So the context was suggesting us a single building. So this is how we started with locating a building like this, which was relating to all other buildings like this and also to the existing workshop. Yeah. So if this was the basic building, I'm just explaining the form. We thought we could have a kind of a cap on the in this axis on this axis, and then we could reinsert. We could insert this the other main building, and we could create a form which is kind of an interaction between the two forms and two axes. So this is how the building is seen from the road. Yeah, we have tried to a lot of things in plan so that it had to have a certain dynamic kind of form instead of having a instead of having a building only with walls and windows. We tried to devise certain spaces in a plan so that it could have kind of a character that it has right now. These are the kind of spaces that we have planned in the plan. These spaces are basically open or semi-open spaces which surround the main areas, and they kind of protect the main areas from the sun, and we could avoid windows on certain surfaces because of these spaces, and they create a nice kind of cool interiors inside. So these were the goals, and broadly this was the kind of exercise we had when we started planning the building. Yeah, this is a typical section through the building, and what we did was we divided the program broadly between two kind of activities. One is offices and second is the residential facility that's above. So these are the rooms on 4 floors above, and these are again VIP rooms. So that's a clear division between residential and office spaces. And so since the trainees will leave upstairs and they will work during the day, they will work on the lower floors. Yeah, that's a service floor that we have planned between two between two of these kind of functions. It of course helps us to manage the services of the towers above, as well as it helps to, as you can see, it helps to take a clear story lighting inside, because the footprint of the block which is below is much more. We needed to take this light to avoid uh, use of artificial light during the day, and these are again the kind of protective spaces which are surrounding the main habitable spaces. Yeah. So this is how it looks actually on site. This is the kind of a build form, which is again interaction or intersection of two axes, and having two functions, office and residential function. Yeah. So we started like this, that instead of only creating a certain build form, we wanted to devise kind of a promenade through the building, and we thought we could take benefit of the existing site context, and that is how we devised our form. So this is how you enter the site diagonally, and yeah, if we see a typical plan, these are the kind of 4 entrances and fire exit, 3 entrances and fire exit. So you continue, this promenade is continued on a diagonal of that cuboid. It's a square in plan, it is 27 meters by 27 meters. And this is how you travel. So you always travel along the diagonal of that cuboid, that square in square shape. And these are the kind of services or service activities that we have planned along the diagonal, along with passages. So toilets at both ends and storages, and there are 2 main halls on the 2 sides of that diagonal. This is how the entire organization of the building is. And these are again kind of protective spaces which are surrounding the main areas. If you see the typical plan of the tower, again we have services designed along the diagonal, and then you move along another diagonal wherever you go, and these are the kind of protective spaces, balconies, which are protecting the main rooms, and there are cavity walls also. So it's a combination of projecting balconies, cavity walls, So you have a lot of light in the room, which you will see in the pictures, but yeah, you have these balconies as the protective spaces. Yeah, we have arranged these balconies in a pinwheel fashion here. This helps to facilitate a different view from each side room, as well as it helps to create a certain different kind of elevation to the built form, which you'll see in plan. Yeah, these are upper they are single VIP rooms. Again, it's a service core, and that's the movement, and these are the balconies. On these two floors, we have arranged the balconies in a kind of a symmetrical fashion, so that you have this kind of a build form here. So that's how you travel along the diagonal, and there are whenever you look around, look away from the building, we are continuously traveling along the diagonal, and it's a continuous promenade that we have in the building. So these are various photographs taken during different seasons. As you can see that cap protects the main habitable area, as well as it creates an interesting light on the main facade. So that's how it's a pergola that's protecting the glazing from the front. These are various kind of photographs that we have. That's building scene from rear side. We have that fire escape staircase scene in the building, and that's how the entrance to the building is. So we try to create a different kind of language to this building. Instead of going for a traditional porch, entrance porch, this large frame protects the entrance and probably acts as a kind of porch. Yeah, these are the interiors. I was very frankly, we were curious or anxious when we started doing this build form. We were anxious about these internal spaces because of the particular shape the building has. But this is how it has come up. We have selected only a unicolor palette. So entire interiors is a white and combination of one sepia color. These are kind of office spaces that we have. Those protecting spaces around the buildings, they help to create this kind of landscape. So you work near the landscape in the building. So this creates a kind of interesting space. Yeah, that's a banquet hall we have on the second floor. We had to use these kind of skylights to again lead the space very nicely. So throughout the building, if you'll see, we have a lot of natural light coming inside. They don't have to use artificial light at all during the day, which is kind of rare in the government buildings. Our users are extremely happy with this. Yeah, so these are residential rooms. As you can see, there is ample of sunlight in the room. That light is coming from those balconies. And this is how the building is seen from below. So it's kind of towering towards the sky, but we have worked on proportions of these buildings so that it gets it is fit on in the site, in the surrounding. It responds to its surrounding in a certain way. Yeah, yeah. This is the next project that we are still working on. It's in the process of designing, but we have got a principal approval from Government of Maharashtra, and it is being presented for the funding. It's a huge project. It's a criminal court building which was given to us for working. Yeah. So when we started working on this project, we literally had this in mind, that how do we go about it? Because it's a huge project, not only in scale, it's almost 20,000 square meters, so 2 lakh square feet. But also it was difficult to design a court building, considering its different character than all other institutions, we thought. So we were really concerned about how do we express, what do we express in courts and how a court should be. And should it be like an ordinary office building, or it has to have a certain special symbolifying kind of a nature, or how do we go about it? So that's what we had in mind. Very complex program. It's given in very short here, and there are a lot of users simultaneously using the building. There are judges, and there is a normal public, and there's lawyers and police and parking, and they'll be simultaneously working on this within this building. There will be approximately 1,000 people. It's estimated. It can exceed. No one really knows how many people will come, but approximately 1,000 people will be in the building at one particular time. So this was a common program, and there was inadequate site. It was abruptly given to us saying you have 4,000 square meters, approximately 4,000 square meter site to you, 1 acre site, and this was the program. And the program also was not clear, and we had to talk extensively with the judiciary and finalize the programs. People, and that's I think particularly a problem with in the urban areas nowadays, that you have always small site and user requirement is very high. They were wanting us to design almost like 40 courtrooms, and sometimes they were saying we need 50 courtrooms, and also we had to sit with the judiciary and finalize the program based on some experiments we were doing in our office, and finally we settled for 24 courtrooms and all other allied activities as per their norms. And also this is how it is when you work with the government, that they had really no idea how the building should look like. So we had to formulate a program and then idea for us. So that's a fact file. The site area now finally given to us is 8,100 square meters, and the project area is approximately 20,000 square meters. And there are 24 courtrooms in the building, and it's in the process of designing. That's the status. So loosely, we started with these design goals, that it had to be contemporary expression. There was a lot of churning with some friends here and fellow architects, that how it should be and how the precedents are, how other court buildings are being designed. So we had these design goals. It had to be. We thought it had to be a contemporary expression of justice. So the question was, how do we express justice? So it had to have certain promenade, giving some experience, the way you move in a building. And it, of course, had to be a climatic responsive architecture. So these were the loose kind of goals that we had. This was the main concern, that how do we symbolify justice. So if we look at certain buildings around us, these are very famous buildings in India. One is Supreme Court, and so there was this kind of architecture on one side, which was telling us something. Then if you see abroad, these are buildings in a northern country. The first one is the Paris courthouse by Renzo Piano. The second is by SOM, that's in USA, and the third one is by Thom Miner. So these were the kind of buildings, of course, designed as per their own context and their own climates. These are not court complexes exclusively, but these are buildings of governance that we studied, not with all their plans and all. So these are very famous, done by great masters. So there were these kind of buildings on one side. These are some traditional examples that we thought we should study. The first one is the complex Hindu. I happened to visit it a couple of years ago, where this Hindola Mahal number 3 that you see is it was a kind of a court when the complex was complex was functioning. So that's how you move in a complex, and that's how you approach the court here. Then one is of course, the Fatehpur Sikri, and Diwani Khas and Diwani Am we thought was again courts. It was traditionally that was the nature of courts that we had. So this is how you move around the buildings. We studied this. And now this is the site context, our own of our site. You have Yeroda jail here, and that's the site, which is diagonally opposite to Yeroda jail. So it's a total land area is 20 acres, but they've given us 2 acres out of that. So that's how the site is. Again, these were the goals we thought. So we studied the program extensively, and then we started to work on the build form. Of course, these are the kind of exercises we did for our clients. Somehow they had something with the symmetry, so they wanted to know how it happens. So we had to convince them that this does not work. There are a lot of problems of light and access and all that. So finally, we showed them this, and this was the kind of option that we zeroed down on. So broadly, yeah, these are like 3 blocks that we have. We have divided the program again broadly E kind of activities. So on right hand side, what you see are the courtroom complex. So there are a lot of courtrooms and all other allied activities are housed into that particular block. On the left hand side, what you see is the parking building. It's a 2-wheeler parking. There's a huge requirement of parking considering the users of the building. So on one side, so there are 2 basements and 2 stills to these buildings. They house a lot of 4-wheeler parking, and for 2-wheelers, you had to have this kind of a parking structure. And the third kind of activity is they're like public activities like banks and post offices, and also the bar rooms and all are housed in third kind of block. So we zeroed down after a lot of experiments. We zeroed down on this particular kind of block model. Of course, the function was in mind. The program was in mind when we zeroed down on this. And these all these blocks, they surround a kind of atrium or court at the center. So this is how you enter a building from the square. From right hand side, you come from Pune, and then you take a U-turn, and this is how you face the building. So we have tried to devise various accesses between various users as a part of function, and also to manage various activities and the crowd that has in the building. So there is a separate access for public from the main road, and from a rear side you again have an entry for judges. As a part of function, they were supposed to be separated from the public, consider hierarchy and their position in the society. And the third kind of access we have for police or criminal vehicles or police vehicles in as a measure of safety, and so that they should not be paraded from the public, we had to devise a separate access there. And this is how it looks after we did something. This is again in the process. We are still working on certain details, fenestration and the light inside. This is just a view that you see, which is a model in process. We are still working on it, but this is how it looks from road. There is again kind of a transparency from road towards that court at the center. And we have also tried to devise certain solidity in the building. So it had to be a contemporary expression, but it had to symbolify the function that we are housing. And this building has a significant visibility on site, since this is the kind of a tallest building in its surrounding. Yeah, so this is how we have worked on the courtroom module. There are 24 courts and all of the same hierarchy. They are like what they called is the JMFC, Junior Magistrate First Class. So we had to work on a module, and we had to work on the size is 12 meter by 9 meters, and there is a clear story lighting from right hand side. Above 8 feet, you have a huge window, continuous window, so that you get light in the courtroom. And again, separate accesses for judge on one side and the public and the criminals again here, so that they interact. Their ways are again not intersected when they travel in the campus. So if you see, this is just a typical plan of the court complex. It's in the process. Again, we have divided the program in three kind of activities. These are courtrooms, and that's the parking building, and these are public activities on this side. And all these spaces, they surround a huge courtyard. It's almost 24 meters by 24 meters span. So this is the kind of arrangement that we thought we'll have for the courtrooms. So each courtroom has a light court adjacent to it. So even though the footprint of the building is huge, these all courtrooms will have a lot of natural light during the day. So again, we thought here that we'll have a kind of a promenade, so that when you enter a building, diagonally like this from here, and that's how you approach the main courtroom complex. I'm sorry. Yeah, so this is how it is. These are 4 courts, and these are light courts which are planned adjacent to courtrooms, and that's how you enter the building. Again, and that's a judge's entry from their side, and that's how the criminal vehicles or the police vehicles will enter. And you have separate accesses, but they face each other in the courtrooms only. So that section of a building, as I said, there are 2 basements, 2 stilts, and it's a G+9 storied building. And that's the atrium, that's the courtyard at the center. These are the kind of elevations that we are working on. This is the rear side elevation, and that's the judge's entry from the rear side. So again, here, instead of going for a traditional porch, we have tried to devise a certain language which is a contemporary language, but still it signifies the grand entrance for judges that is needed. And that's how the walkthrough of the building is. This is not a final kind of a model, but that's in the process. So thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for your wonderful presentation. The ideas are really inspiring in the organization and quality of spaces for such a complex and functioning program together. You have put it's quite amazing. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
So our third speaker for this evening is architect Rahul Durul. He is an artist from the initial years of his life. Rahul's passion for meaningful and creative spaces was initially sparked by his family's graphic design business. He now uses this passion to inspire the design team and guide the style, proportions, marking, and detailing into his projects, drawings inspiration from the natural world, fashion, organic patterns, trends in hospitality, contemporary design, and new directions in design and construction technologies. Each element enriching the team's work, developing a rich visual language for all projects. When he has free time to do as he pleases, he loves working with wood, drawing, reading, photography, fixing things, the arts, and all kinds of rustic beauty in all its forms. Now, I may request Architect Rahul Durgule to please present your work, sir.
Shall we start?
Yeah, sure, you can.
Aviation began with its studio in Kolhapur and Pune in 2004 as a traditional architecture and interior design practice and has now metamorphosed into a community of professionals that design place-based and regionally inspired architecture. We believe architecture is not merely about creation, it is about a search from social aspect to the mechanics of spaces and forms, from beauty of light and shadow to striking a harmony with nature. Each project is a fusion of ideas and experiences, of vision and skill, of local material and craftsmanship. Now I am starting presentation of recently done project. First one is Palace Fine Dine and Bar. The client wanted to open a door for high-class patrons of Kolhapur to experience world fusion, a well-designed garden restaurant. The location is surrounded by the urban neighborhood on northwest side and main road on southeast side in the lush green area of Kolhapur city. Existing rail tree and gulmohar tree on southwest side corner of the road. Approach to garden restaurant design that seamlessly blends with the surrounding landscape and incorporates the outdoor into the indoor. Restaurants pavilions are arranged into two levels around central courtyard. Cluster of feature roof restaurant pavilion are placed around a series of courtyard connected by landscape garden, colonnade, and these are separated by dark graphite brick wall. Courtyard creates an invisible division of spaces separating the pavilions, yet allowing seamless connectivity to space. These are sections. The roof of wooden pavilion are made with traditional carpentry work. Customized light fitting made by steel round pipe hanging in such a way to create soft light like a twinkling night sky. Metal screen in lounge area. Dining spaces separated by handmade screen made by wooden molding woven in cotton thread. Calligraphy, graffiti in a black box lounge. Metal halls in courtyard. Restaurant required certain privacy and wanted to respond to the street landscape was created as a transition from street level to dark brick masonry wall. Hardscape entrance courtyard, peppered with champa and bamboo trees, protected by a water body that releases into the reception pavilion. Reception pavilion connected outer courtyard to dining. Waiting area facing entrance court. Permanent walkways flanked by water bodies connected central courtyard, indoor dining pavilion, bar counter pavilion, garden dining pavilion, open dining and service area. Linear bar counter with the green wall in background. Morning light accentuating central courtyard. Overall, earthy material palette mingled with background nature. Central courtyard. Evening at central courtyard. Private sitting area that are textured with green foliage. Indoor dining was a series of a dark graphite wall framed by wooden ceiling and dining spaces usually separated by wooden screen. Woodmore court outside the AC dining hall. Black box lounge. The dramatic dark interior volume and overheading table roof inspired lounge as a theatrical space. The furniture and the other details are an eclectic mix intended for casual dining as well as lounging. Rustic furnished dining pavilion are textured with green foliage and woodmore tree in background. Upper level pavilion that overlook a rain-tree. Roadside elevations. Contemporary sloping roofscape. The second project is twin roof house at Kolhapur. The client's bid given was to build a contemporary home with a traditional touch. As the adjacent houses are very close to the plot, integrated planning was adopted. One enters the plot through entrance court with basalt stone facade wall which takes us to lobby of the house. Living and dining kitchen are planned linear around courtyard, towards north landscape garden, towards east lotus pond and sit out, towards west entrance court, towards south courtyard with water bodies for outdoor dining activity. On the first floor, two bedroom connected by bridge, adjoining staircase and hobby studio. On the second floor, one bedroom with a terrace courtyard. Entrance lobby. One is welcomed by brilliance of natural light pouring into the staircase court, which is a combination of traditional Indian court, hangar, casual sitting space. Setback is converted into hardscape court, which in the end act as an extension of living area. Linear plan of living, dining and kitchen area. Kitchen is designed with landscape backyard for outdoor dining area. Backyard of the house. Master bed. Jacuzzi for the master bed. Hobby studio. Windows of son's bedroom is designed to become a standing balcony. Traditional setting in the windows softens the boundary between inside and outside. Parents' bedroom is visually extended by adding a private court in the backyard. The elevations of this house is with Bangalore type sloping roof, wooden columns, panel windows, facade stone, emphasize the combination of a traditional and contemporary architecture. Next project is the Malar Fine Line in Islampur. Malar is a fine dine restaurant in ongoing project of clubhouse in Islampur. Restaurant divided into two levels. Ground floor consists of entrance courtyard, outdoor dining area and kitchen, and upper level consists of a AC dining hall. Malar is express an ideology that synchronizes the dining experience with rich Marathi cultural heritage. Since the restaurant is a near busy highway, high stone wall gives expression of fortified Marathi gadi and drape the outdoor area. Landscape near feature wall. Entrance courtyard and waiting area. Stone walls separated outdoor dining area from entrance court. Glimpse of outdoor area from entrance court. Open court, rustic wooden flooring, in-situ wall, stone wall, enriching experience of the outdoor dining. Modern expression of Ganesha painting made by artist Anwar Hussain welcoming the guest. Graffiti of Marathi seasons on brick wall of staircase mill landing wall. The enormous variety of art and graffiti in restaurant inspired by Marathi traditions in contemporary expression. Next project is a Shambala penthouse. Shambala is located in the two last floor in apartment building in neighborhood of Kolhapur. Strategic civil changes consist of internal staircase cutting in the slab to introduce the skylight over the staircase and opening up living room, family room towards large terrace. One is welcomed by South Indian column and inviting a lot of natural light from the terrace courtyard. Living room enriched with traditional painting on wall. Contemporary wooden furniture. Skylight over staircase. Terrace converted into the central courtyard has been derived from traditional Angan concept. Traditional design elements from Wada are rearranged in contemporary way. Example: basalt stone, masonry wall, curry part, traditional wooden columns, skylight, jula, gomuk. Traditional carpentry work with antique fitting enriched family lounge and dining. Kitchen. Upper level consists of 3 bedrooms. First one, master bedroom enriched with traditional Odissi painting and wooden flooring. Study area welcome wooden column which has decorative stone based window invites lots of natural light. Terrace floor staircase. Terrace floor consists of jacuzzi and gazebo, sit-out terrace landscape, in situ wall for jacuzzi area, terrace landscape. Thank you. Thank you for organizer invite me to participate Satish Vitthal Sant Memorial Lecture 2021. Special thanks to my guru, Arvind Doshi sir.
Thank you so much, sir, for your presentation. The varied experiences and the use of varied materials in your projects is quite interesting to see actually. The combination of traditional and contemporary architecture seems so effortless in all your buildings. Thank you for your presentation. Our last speaker for today is architect Pankaj Bhagwat. He He is an alumnus of College of Architecture, Kolhapur, and he graduated in the year 2009. He is the founding partner of studio PPBA with architect Pallavi Bhagwatkar at Pune, which supports interaction among designers and professionals at grassroots level to solve design issues. Before starting up his own studio, Pankaj worked closely with renowned architect Christopher Charles Benjamin on several projects. He believes design should be evolved from the place on which it stands. It should respond to the climate, functionally, available technology, and aspirations of the people. For us, architecture is all about negotiating with the immediate landscape and our environment. And at Studio PPBA, they try their best to deal and ensure a vision towards its betterment. The ultimate aim lies in bringing people together through design and creating opportunities for them to modify their own landscape. I now request Sir to please kindly go ahead with your presentation. Yes, sir, your screen is visible.
Hello. Okay, good evening all.
Yes, you are
All
audible.
a very happy new year. I'm thankful to Guru sir and great him for giving me this opportunity. So, hello.
Pankaj, your voice is very low. Huh?
Hello. Is it okay now?
No, increase the volume a little bit.
Is it okay now? Hello.
Not really. Actually, it didn't change.
Hello. Is it okay now?
It's still low.
Hello.
Hello.
Can you see my screen?
Screen is visible. Voice is very low.
Yeah.
Can you speak on the microphone?
Yeah, maybe connect a microphone.
Is it okay now?
This is good, better.
Okay. Fine. Good evening, everybody, and wish you all a very happy New Year. I'm thankful to Girish sir and entire race team for giving me this as an opportunity. So we all are very versed with this art form. I too like this and would like to have this on my record. But the major difference between the art and architecture is we cannot. Hello. Hello.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Can you hear me?
Screen is visible, but
Yeah. Actually, your voice is quite low, sir. If you could maybe use a microphone, then.
I was using a microphone, but it was not good enough. Is it okay now? Hello?
It's still better, but there's a lot of disturbance from around you actually.
Okay. Is it okay now? Okay. Um, okay, fine. It's good to go now. We all are working with this art form, which you can see on my screen. I could like this and would love to have this on my record. But the major difference between the art and architecture is we cannot hang architecture on the wall like this piece of art. Similarly, we cannot just make pretty buildings. We need to find the purpose for our building and at the same time we should negotiate with the contractor. We believe architecture should be evolved from the floor on which it stands. It should respond to the climate, functionality, available technologies, and the aspirations of the people. Uh, Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Okay, great. Yes. Very sorry for the interruption. Let me quickly. Uh, we all are worked with this art form, which you can see on my screen. I feel like this. And would love to have it on my paper, but the major difference between the art and architecture is you cannot hang architecture on the wall like this piece of art. Similarly, we cannot just make pretty buildings. We need to find the purpose for our building. And at the same time, our building should negotiate with the contractor. We believe conclude with this, Courtyard are the finest architectural innovations which ever done. The courtyards actually are the extension of the inhabitable place which brings ample light, ventilation to any given spaces. Uh, these are the elaborate pictures of the courtyard. As I said, um, every age group of the family members can enjoy this place. They can do eat in the courtyard and carry out their daily activities.
Sorry to interrupt. Actually, your voice is still very low. It's still not clear.
Is it okay now? Hello?
Not so much.
How about this? Hello?
Hello? Yeah, yeah.
Can you hear me?
So, please go ahead. If there's a problem, then I'll just
Okay.
interrupt again. Please go ahead.
Is it possible for him to connect to any headphones so that the mic comes closer to him?
Sorry for the last moment problem. We'll be back shortly.
Hello?
Yes, sir. Yeah, it's still a little low, but it's fine. It's okay. Take it. Thank you.
So, can I go ahead?
Yeah, please, you can go ahead.
I was talking about the courtyard as an extension of the places, which you can see this every family member, every age group, they can use the place as an extension of the house. This is a very important part of in the architecture, I feel. So you can relax in the courtyard if you want to. This is actually the character from the civilization architecture. So, we got an opportunity where to design an old age home for an NGO in Pune, which is actually called it as a station around the Courtyard. This particular site is located on the Pune-Nagar highway, and from there, inside the 2 kilometers, our site is placed in 10 meters away. So, site maintenance is around 10,000 square feet and surrounded by the proposed residential area. Uh, when we enter into this project, this was the earlier approved plan done by some other designer. We have entered the picture after this actually. When we visited the site, the footprint was already sanctioned, so we were restricted to design within the given limits. So you can see the plant is this is the president actually we were asked to we were asked to see it. And so, am I audible now? Hello, am I audible?
No,
Am I audible now?
no.
Is it okay now?
It's better.
Uh, can I go ahead with you?
Yeah, sir, you can go ahead. This is quite okay.
Okay. So let me. I'm very sorry for the technical problem. So, so yeah. So this was the proposed site, and as I said, this was our earlier approach plan, which was given to us. And when we entered into this project, uh, other designer was working on this, and this was the plan we had proposed, and this was finalized by the trust, by the engineer. And so this was the footprints which were reflected to us. And if you see the plan, this was the passage because you can see in green, this was the connecting area. But when we studied the plan in detail, we saw this yellow portion was deprived of natural light and ventilation. So we revised our plan and presented this plan as an extension of the house. We tried to open up the spaces in the central courtyard, which you can see in this space. And we try to work out the column grid as well, uh, you know, in some order, so that you have a perfect structure. This is how we enter into the plot. elderly citizens, they need to take care for their activities. So we were planned utility courtyard in between the two toilets to take care of the plumbing and their daily uh, uh, daily needs as well. So you can see this on the right side we have looked at all the toilets on the western side. Uh, as I mentioned earlier, this building is surrounded by the proposed neighborhood. So we have tried to make this building inward looking, and so the court have been proposed as an extension of the space outside. You can see this. So this is the first floor plan, and this is on the first floor plan we have the multi-purpose hall and the production unit, again and the guest room and the passage. And this is the courtyard which looks below. This is again the roof floor plan. The section actually shows the connection of the courtyard with the surrounding spaces. This is again two more sections at an unit running out of the time. So I will quickly run through this. Then you can see the double light and the connection of the courtyard, and there is a passage above which you can overlook into the visual spaces. So yes, so this is under construction building right now. This is how it is visualized how the courtyard has been placed, and we push into the courtyard and further back to the three place. This is actually outward courtyard and outer courtyard. So I think it's more not to the courtyard. This is from the room actually looking towards the dining. This is how the double light space and the courtyard again inside, dining on the courtyard. We are also this view down to most of this house. This is like granite. We staircase with the toilet on top. This is how it is visualized. This is the west facade. Which you can see this all the toilets will come with the dining for that. And again one more shot. This is a few side images with the construction as I mentioned. Few more. This is how it interacts with the surrounding environment. Sustainable and green architecture. These days, we are fond of using words like sustainable and green very loosely. What I believe is the in process of building in itself is not sustainable. I think we as a community should understand this for the betterment of the society. Yes. But there are, there are these magical words like reduce, reuse and recycle can create wonders for us as a society. So this is the project in Satara where we are trying to put these three R's which I mentioned earlier. Reduce, recycle and reuse. So it is a restaurant located nearly 2 kilometers from the next pole. This is actually here. This site has an extent. This site actually had an old dilapidated structure. When we visited the site, we saw this, and we meticulously procure most of the existing material out of it. These were the few materials which we procured. The doors, there were electric too, and were mango tiles also. So we have reused the furniture which we actually visited surrounding area, and on the scrapyard we procured this benches as well. And we thought instead of western desk, we should use it for our budget, as we had very tight budget for this project, and thought we reuse all this material. And move on to the plan. Actually, this is how we enter a small portico. This is how we enter and you can see it in the green area, which is the covered dining area. And this is the kitchen we place on the east of the east side. And again, the concept of the courtyard is actually we tried here as well to get an extension for the dining area wherever they want, or if they want to celebrate some. Some functions. Recently, they have celebrated the Christmas there. I mean, so this particular courtyard have a water body which you can see in the blue. The water body actually had there was already a drop on the ground. So we thought we'll make instead of just filling it, we will use it for the water bottle. And this is for the parking. At the back, where the old toilet was, we used the same facilities and we just renovated a little bit, and we added extra facility as a servant room there. This is a party area at the back if they want. For that, actually, you can enter directly. Sometimes you see someone. This is how the section actually. This section on this side you have a road and this looks into the covered dining area. You can see the elevation is a kitchen water body. So on the grave you have the kitchen and dining area. At the back you can see this as a servant room and the toilet. This is how the existing bricks were used, and I have purposefully retained, if you can see that I have purposefully retained the color and the texture of the brick. I mean, because this old materials have every right to be there. I mean, because it was there before we were given this work, and so that emotional attachment I think is always it should be there in every project. I mean, so yes, I mean, there's more thoughts for that. We have renewed the roofing tiles also to create these walls on the south side to block the hard sun. The tiles were so placed, projecting outward so that it can cast a shadow and cool down itself. This is how it casts a shadow in the second, the cool down itself so that the west side sun won't disturb habitable spaces. More construction starts. Now the building is coming. Yes, this is how we can see this from the main road. I mean, this is a completed project. You can see this in LA. You can see this the kitchen which has it directly on the outside. This is the rail. The rail door is a small portico where you can enter. Then few more glimpses of the restaurant. This is how the new construction and the old construction, it's fused together. And, the water body and the entrance portico. Now, on the road you get a glimpse of the restaurant inside. This is the kind of material palette actually, and these all are the wooden doors which we can just rail and all the same mango tile walls. Just going through the glimpses of the we were just trying to create a spaces where every group can enjoy. Obviously within the given material palette, and we try to use as much as we can, and uh, built and fabric out of that old material. This is actually from the party area which haven't developed yet. But this is how we can introduce right now. So I'm talking about this is the last project I'm presenting, and this is an orphanage in Katara. Uh, I mean, we did a few initial stages for this. The basic thought was we went on the site. We wanted this to be, the place where children get spaces where they want to be comfortable within the campus. And before the site, it was given to us. We were surrounded by again the neighborhood. This is only access road is from the building was in phases actually. Because the phase one, which we have just done in part number 7. This was a required mark actually when we studied the marking of the project. But after studying, we thought like at the central area where the yellow portion is, we can't get the natural light. So to deal with that, we split the building into 2 parts and have again a courtyard. In courtyard, we have a lot of love and love for the courtyard, but it is really a great tool for an architect for the extension of the spaces. So here, the courtyard for an urban context where we have a lot of neighborhood around that combine the spirit of traditional housing with to the contemporary values and issues. So when we studied the sun part of this particular object, so we thought like we should block the east and west sun and to get the privacy from the immediate neighborhood, because since this orphanage is for the girls orphans, that is why the client also wanted complete privacy from both the sides. So we thought like we'll use the double wall to protect the places from the climatical forces. Then we strategically placed the staircase on the east side, to get the privacy, because on the east side we have a lot of neighborhoods, which is actually the place to our plot, and to borrow the landscape from the west. So this is how the courtyard place and places we can borrow into the courtyard. Section the building. Building, as I mentioned, will be placed around the courtyard. But the problem was, when we were designing how to enter the building. So what we thought is we shifted this block on the upper side, and this is how we enter actually into the building. Then this yellow mark is the entire is the open area, and where the kids can play if they want, and hip hop if they want really. So and in this space only where the society actually they can enter any time. This is open actually to all. Anybody can just walk in and talk to the children if they want. And other residential parts and other residential parts are on the upper level. And the dining actually purposefully placed it at the back side so that it will hide will have a direct exit from the road. So this is how the building placed around the courtyard. Then the structural grid, we placed it on the 750 mm so that to resolve the entire building program. And the same grid we try to have it on the elevation as well, the building elevations as well, because I think we wanted the plan and the elevation has to correlate with each other. And this is how the plan begins. When you enter to the entrance, and then again go on to the 5 feet level, the Angan, and again 5 feet level to the classroom. And below the classroom, we have kitchen and dining. We have a direct exit from the west. And yeah, this is the dining plan. We also have a courtyard and utility line. Then, as I mentioned, again the recreational activities, other habitable activities are on the top floor. And multi space and hobbies are on the terrace. Actually, it's covered by the parking lot. Actually, we literally don't have a single opening on this wall to have a toilet. How the building performs. Now, we are doing the extension of the same, the base to actually the extension of the building, and which will hit the ground very soon. This building is proposed, and we have a courtyard here. These two buildings are placed such that which will create again the courtyard. We are calling it as a community courtyard. Every society can come and it is a place which we are giving back to the society. So that is how these two buildings were built. And this courtyard eventually open into this bigger courtyard. This is how we will do the future. This is the current building which I use right now. On the west, or on the east, where the neighborhood is with our class. And there we want it. On the west side, we have placed the toilet and also blocked the art fund. This is how the central courtyard behaves. This is used by the orphan as well as the neighboring children. This space is also utilized throughout the year. Throughout the year by the village community to celebrate their occasion. This helps the orphan develop friends relationships and interaction with the society. I think for the orphan it's very important how we take them to the normal routine. I mean that to come out that trauma. I mean, this is very important for them to understand. And so we before we doing this orphanage, we have visited a few other orphanages around, and it was very light, and we thought they deserve a good place within a budget constraint, of course. But they do deserve. I mean the good space is. So we thought like this space can be a community place where everybody can come and walk in, and now all the surrounding schools, they organize the different shows, lectures, seminars, and roughly around 200 students can connected to this program. So I just say this is it's an open area, and has to have a ceremonial thing. This is how the surrounding villages come and meet. This is how they organize general functions, workshops and interactions with people. This is the entrance that I'm from the ambulance to the entrance. This is how it interacts with the surroundings. These all are utility terraces. There is a morning floor, this winter actually terraces and the morning alternative classes, morning classes. So in a way, this kind of terraces actually again the kind of courtyard, it's an amazing. Places where they can use it as multiple activities. We use the colors here and there to kids to enhance the space. Yeah, I mean, at last it is not about the greatness of doing something for the people, but we have attempted to share the responsibility of holding this representation within the society with a lot of love and affection. Thank you so much. Thank you. And thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for sharing these wonderful ideas. The hierarchy of spaces that you have used in all your projects is quite interesting, actually. And the combining of the new and old architecture and the use of varied material palette is really interesting to see. I would, sir, can you mute yourself, please? Yeah, so I'd like to ask in the audience if anybody has any questions. So, actually, there's a question for Rohan sir. So, the truck drivers community that you have built. So, overall, in like for how long were you engaged in the design process? So, like for how long did you understand what the truck drivers actually need and what kind of spaces they require, and how did you go about reaching a design solution for those design for the truck drivers actually?
Okay, so yeah, am I audible? No, first of all, yeah.
Yeah, sir, you're audible.
Okay, see, the thing is, it was like a continuous process because we first started addressing the community with the paused restrooms, so which allowed us to kind of imagine those spaces. And in principle, what we tried to do was see, I mean, a truck drivers community, the way they use uh, different objects and different spaces, it's quite robust. Okay, and so in principle, we thought all the spaces or the equipments that we design for them, it has to have a quality so that it can last for longer time. Okay, so that was the basic thinking behind the design, and keeping that in mind, we started looking at each space and resource, and that's how we ended up with these two projects. In fact, in the Truck Drivers Village project, uh, we also considered the humanistic approach towards design, because if they're going to stay there for a longer time, the spaces have to be something where they can relate themselves rather than being something that is very modern or contemporary. So the idea of creating these vernacular spaces where there is a certain relationship, I mean, the idea of the space the truck drivers has already been into, you know, and how we can reimagine or recreate that space in a typology or a village kind of a unit. So that was the idea behind it.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. So I have another question for architect Prasad Toru, sir. So, in your case, you started working with a large scale project. So, like, how did you go about doing those really complex, the complex program that you were given? How did you really go about, dividing those into smaller components and then designing and then thinking what kind of space is then required? Could you please elaborate a little more on that?
Uh, it would be really difficult to exactly tell you how did we go about it. But generally, this is we study the program in detail because, of course, it's very complex program. Particularly in case of court building, it's very complex program. So everything is done simultaneously, of course, but generally we start programming detail and then we start to think what do we express, how do we go about it, and then we work on certain block models in SketchUp or even some physical block models, and then probably we go for the detailing of the project of individual space, and then again making a refinement in the overall scheme. This is to and fro process. It's really difficult to tell you how do we go about it, but that's how it is. Yeah.
So, sir, will it be possible for you to do a small scale project like a bungalow now, as you have already entered into that into such a large program and thinking in a very larger scale? Then is it kind of difficult to switch scales when you are working in a large scale and then you suddenly switch to a small scale project? How is it for you? Like,
Yeah, I haven't really tried any small scale project in the recent past. I'm saying I've done a couple of residences earlier. I've done some interiors also earlier, but I don't think that the scale really does matter in terms of the complexity of project. Frankly, whether I'll be able to do a residence, I have to try one.
yeah, yeah, sure. Yeah, that's all for you. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
The next question is for Rahul Durul, sir. So, did you always have an inclination for sloping roofs? Because in the project that we saw today, I could notice a lot of sloping roofs in all your projects. So, is it like an inclination for sloping roofs, is it, or is there any other reason for you using them a lot more in your projects?
I'm presenting project last 4 years. I have done it last 4 years.
Okay.
No such a result to get sloping roof, but the language of these last 3 4 years, it's same kind of uh, architectural style.
So is it like your architectural stand of using these sloping roofs as a main component for your entire structure?
No, no.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you, sir.
The nearest sloping.
So All this is actually going on live on YouTube, and this is available for you all to watch again if anybody kind of needs anything further. So there is one more question for Prasad Toru actually. For a public building and at larger context for generic architectural expression, how you define or your views on architectural expression being on photogenic against the real meaningful expression. So it's not a question actually, it's more like a comment on your work. So
Uh, we have, as I've said, I'm trying to explore various ways of conceiving Bitcoin and trying to kind of finalize kind of a design process. While doing that, I don't really start from a point that it should be photogenic. Of course, it has to be meaningful. So I think everything goes together. I mean, the ultimate product is the what you are depends on what your starting point are. So we try to focus on certain starting points, of course, a program and site context, and we are trying to understand what aesthetical language, how does it play a role, based on, of course, it's different in every project. So I don't think that we can really differentiate between photogenic and meaningful. But when we start, we of course start with certain ideas which we hope will end up in being meaningful. That's what it is.
okay, sir. So, Rahul sir, we really appreciate your work in urban context in such a young age actually. It's quite interesting to see how you're working towards public public spaces in general, and how you're doing things that normally people would not notice and would not do for public buildings in general.
Thank you.
So, are there any more questions from anybody in the audience? Okay, then I would like to take this opportunity to thank all of the presenters for your wonderful presentations. It was really an insightful and an inspiring evening for all the viewers. Now I'd like to request architect Dipti Sant, daughter of Satish Sant, to say a few words about Sir.
Good evening. Am I audible? Um, Me on behalf of my family, I would like to take this opportunity to thank Gireesh Joshi sir and the team at Roll for putting such a wonderful program, not just today but for the last 14 years. I would also like to thank our presenters today for the wonderful work that they have presented. And lastly, I would like to thank you all for taking out time and attending today's presentation. We hope to see you all again next year. And till then, stay home, stay safe, and I wish you all a very happy new year and enjoy the rest of your evening. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you all for joining in with us today.